As we all know, intention to create legal relation is part of elements in a contract. Intention to create legal relation is defined as intention to enter a legally binding agreement of a contract. It is one of the necessary elements in formation of the contract because it consists the readiness of a party to accept the legal sequences of having entered into the agreement. There are a few concepts of intention to create a legal relation, such as the party's mind will be obvious to enter a serious contract. When two parties decide to enter the environment of a contract, their mind will understand the contents of a contract. This is due to their attention to the consenting mind which both parties have to be agreed. If there is no agreement by both parties, it may make the contract a nullified agreement. B. If there is no intention to create legal relation, the contract will not be enforceable, legal and binding. The intention to create legal relation is one of the essential elements of a contract. So if there is no intention to create legal relation, the contract can be assumed as not legal. Due to that, the contract may not being enforceable because there is no intention to create legal relation at the beginning, which not making the contracting parties to be legally binding.
Next, I want to talk about without intention to create legal relations, the parties cannot sue each other. With no intention to create legal relations, it may cause the contracting parties are not being legally binding and the circumstances may cause the contract is enforceable. Therefore, when the contract is enforceable, the contracting parties cannot sue each other and this will spoil their business increases. And this can also make the contract is hard to acquire their justice. In addition, with no intention to create legal relation, it will make contract become a mere promises. Mere promises is simply like a simple promise arise when there is no intention to create a legal relations. Besides that, when there is no intention to create legal relation, it will make the contract or agreement become less powerful due to whether one or both parties does not have a consent mind. So, if the contract is lack of binding effect, it will cause the difficulty to the party to involve in the future.
Example cases for the commercial or business relation. Clambert Bansons Ltd versus Malaysia Wanie Corporation Berhad in year 1989. The case shows the letters of comfort. In this case, the plaintiff bank agreed loan to MMC Metals, subsidiary of MMC. The bank agreed MMC to guarantee loan. MMC said no policy to guarantee loans to subsides, offer letter of comfort stating, "It is our policy to ensure that the business of MMC Metals is at all times in a position to meet its liability under the arrangement." The bank accepted but charged higher rate of interest and the market collapsed. And MMC went into liquidation. The plaintiff tried to claim balance from MMC. First instance, the court found in favor of plaintiff relying heavily on Skyway's 1964 ruling overturned on appeal, and the judge said Skyway's case not was about promise supported by consideration, so not applicable here. Hence, rule no intention to create legally binding agreement statement was not meant to act as guarantee, stating on current position, not future intention. Cases for the social friends relation. Same skins we pays in year 1955. The case shows mutuality. In this case, the defendant, her granddaughter, and the plaintiff playing lodger regularly took part in newspaper competition. All contributed but entered in the defendant's name. There is no set of arrangement that state payment or postage etc. Financially, if the competition is successful, the defendant refused to share with the plaintiff. The plaintiff sued for his share. Court ruled legally binding relationship has sufficient maturity in the arrangements between parties. Family or domestic relation cases example is Buffalo versus Buffalo in year 1919. The husband brought wife to England from Sri Lanka. The husband had to return but wife stayed for medical reasons. He promised to pay her £30 per month until his return. When he failed to pay, the wife sued the husband. Wife action failed because there is no consideration moved from her and there is no intention to create legally binding agreement found. The court state in husband and wife cases, burden of proof is on plaintiff to prove intention to create legally binding agreement.
Okay, my name is Najah. So, for the conclusion, intention to create legal is, in order to sell product, a seller must promote the product by follow the rules that will not harm the consumer. The seller must be considerate in the process of making a product that will leave good impression from the customer. Other than that, a seller should use a fair and contract to have a good exchange of business. Hello, my name is Najah. So, for the conclusion, and contract to has a good exchange and business.
As we all know, intention to create legal relation is defined as intention to enter the intention to create legal relation defined as of having entered the intention to create legal relations is defined in the contract. Intention to create legal relation means that as you all know, intention to create legal relation is defined as because it consists the readiness of a party to accept the legal sequences of